Okay, hello everybody. My name is Jenni Partanen and I'm a professor of future city from TTalTechi Academy of Architecture and Urban Studies. And today I'm talking about cities and how they could be seen as a solution for many local and global issues, and particularly about the conditions for this. I will touch factors like density, sustainability, energy, and growth, with several open questions and tentative arguments for further discussions. Cities are very unique places. They are hubs of innovation and evolution of new ideas, knowledge production and dissemination. All these benefit from proximity that enables people's collaboration. A well-known urbanist, Jane Jacobs, argued already in early 60s that certain level of density and people's random encounters across the city generate creativity and innovation that is necessary for economy, culture, and urban vitality in general. Cities are artifacts that emerge and evolve through our decisions, plans, and interventions. These usually happen on a local scale, in buildings, blocks, or neighborhoods. They typically lack an overall control of a whole, hence appearing autonomous and surprising. So cities are in many senses similar to ecosystems in nature. Despite careful planning and management, they seem to grow and evolve according to their own logics from the cumulative local interventions. Many of these spontaneously emerging phenomena benefit us humans greatly, like the way cities produce wealth, culture, or innovation. The trade-off is that also, for example, epidemics and crime are unproportionally common, the bigger the city is. Michael Batty and Paul Longley discovered in 1990s that cities tend to be fractals, which appear as a most efficient way to fill space in many natural systems. Tree branches, river basins, and other systems follow this principle for the most dynamically optimal configuration. Cities often seem to benefit from such autonomously emerging density. We can say that density both causes and is a consequence of the urban evolution. In brief, density boosts productivity and innovation, improves access to goods and services, reduces typical travel distances, encourages energy-efficient construction and transport, and allows broader sharing of scarce urban amenities. However, for downsides, density implies crowding and makes living and moving in cities more costly. According to studies, paradoxically, in dense urban cores, people's lifestyles appear to be less energy efficient, and they tend to use more cars than in rural areas. The ongoing climate change will cause more extreme weather in near future, and overly dense structures may increase vulnerability in cities. Certain urban forms and building configurations often imply a lot of paved surfaces and may produce heath islands and reduce resilience to sudden floods, along with wind tunnel effects. Therefore, urban morphology plays a role. Actually, local building traditions that evolve through trial and error offer some clever solutions. In warmer climate, differences in air pressure on sunny and shady sides of the building has been applied for efficient ventilation and cooling. In northern vernacular architecture, buildings typically open towards south and west, and so on. It's good to stress that greenery is also essential for managing heat waves in cities. Trees lower surface temperatures and balance the microclimate. In cities, trees are not just luxury, they are often necessity. Urban density is a key characteristic in urbanity also visually. We perceive streetscapes as a space based on ratio between the width and height of the facade. Also, the rhythm and proximity of the buildings and other factors affect this experience. Density cannot be a flat universal quantitative measure defining the scope of planning, but just one variable in designing good cities. Consequently, quality of environment and skillful design is essential for a happy city that is diverse, lively, inclusive, and surprising. For better cities, we must not densify recklessly, but research the city, its characteristics and dynamics now and in future. This strategic work concerns the operation of the whole urban system, accessibility and mobility networks, green networks and topology, existing concentrations of population, business, culture and services, and of course the smart systems and new digital ways of life. So I would argue that we must learn how the cities operate on different scales to build and densify them in a most appropriate manner. Another issue is that despite their density, all cities are not necessarily very ecological now. While our recent middle-class lifestyle has been unsustainable, no city or urban region can achieve sustainability on its own. Regardless of the local land use and adopted environmental policies, the sustainability of cities depends on the sustainable use of their global hinterland, so we should zoom out for these metrics. Furthermore, depopulation of many rural areas doesn't mean that they are abandoned in eco-functional sense. Rural land and ecosystem functions are exploited even more intensively for the new urban, increasing population. Beyond ecosystems, these loops are global in most profound ways. We remember what happened after China's first lockdown for COVID, or as Suez Canal was blocked. These events caused sudden impacts on availability of surprising products and services due to the lack of similar production in EU. This is not resilient. And I would argue that we should think about nationwide or global systems instead of just city and regional ones. Complex systems as cities and ecosystems are at best quite resilient. They are stable but vulnerable to internal and external shocks and unstable after a tipping point. In sense of energy, distributed system for production could be more resilient than dependence on large-scale energy production alone, perhaps even non-local one. It would be more adaptive in times of disruption. In future smart technology-mediated cities, non-centralized generation can help to deal with energy reliability and to successfully implement renewable sources. However, smart cities could be perfect test beds for exploring, planning, calculating and trialing novel innovations in energy technology and for combination of energy production methods in various scales. Regarding future densification of cities, we should also consider these new methods and the spatial requirements within cities. So here I would argue that city planning should consider also new methods of energy production, not just reducing consumption. We live in an economic system that is based on free market and constant growth, implying extensive utilization of natural resources. This system has provided a lot of wealth and prosperity to many. Simultaneously, in past 150 years, it has also pushed the ecosystem into the limits and caused many permanent turbulence in weather conditions and rising temperatures, affecting conditions for living. The dilemma seems to be that in current system, we need growth for economic and social stability, but excessive growth eventually harms ecosystems, causing instability and climate change, which also disturbs economy. Technology may assist, but efficiency and optimization through technology may not be enough. The so-called Jevons paradox indicates that increased efficiency by itself may not reduce resource use, and that sustainable energy policy must rely on other types of government interventions as well. These gains should be taxed away or otherwise removed from further economic circulation. They could be, for example, captured for reinvestment in natural capital rehabilitation. We cannot make just individuals responsible, but the big question is, do we need a systemic change? World is irreversible. We cannot go back in time and cut all consumption. What then should we change and how? Perhaps we need a wide range of changes in interrelated areas of technology, consumer attitudes and regulation. Again, cities produce the majority of knowledge, goods and services and have the most investments and educated people adopting new and adapting to transitions. Moreover, cities, rather than states, can be seen as the basic unit for culture, innovation and economics. Therefore, I would suggest that the city indeed provides many solutions to timely issues. We just need to fully understand the complex nature of these future challenges. Thank you very much.